Today's episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio is brought to you by Gamers Inn, your one-stop location for all your gaming needs. Located in Lehigh City, Utah, their fun and friendly staff will be more than happy to answer any of your gaming needs. Just remember, Gamers Inn, it's where adventures begin.
Time to power up.
Autobots, roll out. Broadcasting live from the DCR studio.
Oh, yeah!
The Geek Revolution starts here.
Excellent!
Get ready for the #1 hit geek radio show out there.
Well, it is impressive, isn't it?
Because it's time for Dungeon Crawlers Radio. Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Spoon! Welcome to another heroic episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio, where Daniel and McKay, and now still dead, or Mackenzie as we've come to call her, are still
missing
in action.
Wait, Mackenzie wasn't missing before, though. She's only missing now. So we have to separate the list of still missings with the list of newly missings.
That is true. She is missing now. So she is now missing, but she was
not missing before. Whereas all those who were missing before are on that same list as with all the rest of the stormtroopers.
That is a horrible thing to say.
Oh,
you just pushed a button. We're supposed to be talking about the Tick. We promised we would talk about the Tick last episode, and now you're going to send me off on a tangent.
Only a comment about their ability to fire a weapon is all I'm saying.
Are you saying the stormtroopers cannot shoot a weapon?
No, they can. It's just comical how much they miss sometimes.
Oh, you do not understand movies, my friend. It's a plot device. What they are the most expert marksmen in the universe.
Oh, really?
Yes. Point one. Think about Obi-Wan when he actually talks about the Sandcrawler when it's been shot. Only Imperial blasters and Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. How do you think they got that heroic? How do you think they got that legendary status? By missing all the time? No, because they always hit their targets.
You see, I understand that, but at the time Ben Kenobi was talking about this, this was the time they were missing things.
They were not missing things!
Previous to this point...
Hold on. When did they miss things in the movie up to that point?
Okay, when they first come in.
Yes, when they first come in.
A lot of gunfire. Where was that going?
Lasers going everywhere. And how many stormtroopers versus how many rebels, dead rebels on the ground do you see?
I'm not saying the rebels are any better. But for being the greatest shots in the universe, they should step it up a little bit.
They did some pretty decent work in that first one. Where they get their horrible rap sheet for is after our heroes have docked the Millennium Falcon at the Death Star. And then all of a sudden, there are these horrible shots who can't hit anything. Oh no, these people are behind a door. How do we shoot them?
See, that's the other one.
It's almost
no one got shot when they infiltrated the Death Star.
Exactly. It's almost like they weren't supposed to be shot. And the stormtroopers were supposed to let them get away so that they could follow the tracking homing device that was planted on the Millennium Falcon.
No, they just needed to be quieter and not, raise suspicions to begin with.
Come on. It's like the main point of the movie. The entire movie is built around this idea. And
I'm not going to argue with it because it is a great movie. But we're moving on to our topic.
No.
Yes, because
the universe needs to know. The universe needs to know that I stand against that joke that the stormtroopers are amazing shots and that it's a plot device. Everyone in the world, it's a plot device. They were meant. Think about Han Solo when he's running down the hall and all of a sudden he runs into this large room conveniently filled with stormtroopers. What? What do we do? Fire in the air. Maybe he'll think we're really bad shots. And then he's running. How did he outrun an entire platoon? Anyway, okay.
Yeah, all right. So.
Am I red? I feel warm.
You were definitely elevated.
And then, oh my gosh, the door's opening and the stormtrooper's sitting there. You can see Luke's ankles. Shoot him in the ankles? Nah, let's just
don't shoot him in the ankles, you jerk. Only jerks shoot at people's ankles. I guess. You haven't ever heard
I'm an ankle shooter. Ha-ha.
You've never heard the saying, wait till you see the whites of their eyes. That door has not opened up enough to see their eyes.
Okay, all right, I feel better now, just a little bit. Okay, so here we are.
We are here.
Talking about the Tick.
The Tick.
The Tick, which, if you joined us on our last show, you'll know that Varirin and I have been friends forever, and then we got off on a tangent. But before that, he introduced me to the Tick, the blue superhero, whose sidekick was Arthur.
Arthur? It's a great sidekick, Arthur.
Who basically helped us grow up back in the 90s. Like, that was one of those shows on the Fox box that...
oh, yeah.
That was pivotal TV watching, and... As a kid, I didn't understand all the jokes like I do now, but
they have some good jokes in there. It's definitely not exclusively for children, but yet it does appeal to the younger folk just because of the goofy, off the wall bit of humor that he has. A lot of the humor that he has. It's quite. Well, it's different. It's unique. In a way, it's a bit more goofy.
It's insane, and I love it for that.
And it was actually based off the comic that came out in 1986. I think it was June or July.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that old.
Out. Yeah, and they're not with DC or Marvel. They're actually from the New England comic universe.
Oh wow, I've never read a Tick comic. I'm a terrible person.
Well, I'll have to pull out my Tick comics because I do have some Tick comics.
I
even found one while I was in London. I found a Tick comic book in a comic store. It was tucked away in the back, and I was like, I want this. And the guy looked at me like, oh, the weird Americans. I don't know why he had a Spanish accent because we were in London, but a lot of weird people there.
Nice.
And, but the Tick actually wasn't a superhero when he was created. He was actually created as a mascot for the Norwood, Massachusetts store of New England Comics, where the guy who actually drew him, Ben Edlund, he was a customer there. And he's actually the creator of the Tick. And he not only did he create the Tick, he is still a huge influence in everything that is done with the Tick. He is part of the new series that's going to be coming out on Amazon.
Now, this is the second time that they've tried to do a TV show. I guess third time if you count the cartoon series, as far as for making it a...
You could call that. Yeah, this is the
series.
second live-action attempt. The first comic or cartoon, anyways. From what I understand, it did well. Did well with me. All my friends seemed to enjoy it. I knew a lot of people in school who really loved watching it. I don't know about the rest of the demographics as far as the U.S. goes. I know it was a big hit, at least in my little town amongst me and my brothers and stuff. Then when the live action came out in, 2005? Is that when it first came? No, it was before that. It would have been...
Oh, it was back when we were in high school.
Yeah, so it would have been early 2000. I think it was 2001 is when it first came out, actually. I think it came out in November of 2001.
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, look that up really quick. Pretty sure it was November of 2001, though, that they came out with the live action. And I remember watching it with anticipation of seeing something amazing.
1994.
94 was the live action?
94? No, 94 was the cartoon.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about
the live action.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the cartoon came out. I remember being really young when watching the cartoons. That was elementary school. was watching the Tick then. But yeah, I think it was
2001 for the live action with our
Patrick Warburton, right?
I love Patrick Warburton. He
yes.
is awesome. He does an amazing job in Series of Unfortunate Events. Honestly, he does
he does
amazing job in almost everything that he does. Even like this character, I felt like he was a decent character.
He was, and he was funny. He was the only good part about the show, to be honest.
Yeah, like honestly, like looking back, I'm having trouble thinking about any of his characterizations that were a problem.
Oh, no, he was great. I remember he was at this lady's house because this lady had convinced him that he was her husband, which she was crazy. But the Tick, the lovable, gullible guy that he is, well, I must be somebody's husband then. I'm going to toss some salad, Arthur. And he takes a bowl of salad and begins throwing it at the ceiling violently, trying to recatch it into the same bowl as he's tossing it. But everything else about this, I mean, they somehow ended up on deciding to go with almost a love triangle in the background with the Fledermaus and American Made and...
Well, they renamed the characters, too.
Oh, they did.
It wasn't American Made.
That's right. It was... Oh, yeah, that's right. And it wasn't the Fledermaus either. They rechanged all of them. Not just the names, but even their personalities were different. Suddenly we had this guy who was acting more like a Mexican soap opera guy, and you got this lady and it was just terrible. They threw this soap opera-esque feeling in the background of this really goofy, funny guy, and Arthur was no help to any of it. He was the boring observation.
One was David Burke too, he's such an amazing actor. Like it was really disappointing. It was Captain Liberty, and then Deflator Mouse was recreated as Batmanuel.
That's right. They made him the Spanish guy. Mm-hmm. When Deflator Mouse is not that guy
it doesn't matter about what. It was the character in and of himself was completely different. Deflator Mouse was a completely different character than what they created with Batmanuel, and even then him and what was the Captain Liberty instead of American made,
and that was Liz Vassy, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah. Just that whole sex thing that they had going on, the jokes just never hit. It was disappointing. They
didn't belong there. They had this completely other genre style of show that they tried to mash in with this really successful comedy, and it was just terrible.
I still remember the line that made me fall out of love with both of the characters, because American Made in the cartoon was just this amazing obviously she was a parody of Wonder Woman, but in the cartoon, she was still this really powerful figure, really awesome. She saved the men a lot.
Yeah.
But then the one line that really killed it for me in the live action, the Patrick Warburton, was when Deflator Mouse is holding her panties and saying, "Oh, I got your panties." It was so humiliating and dehumanizing. It brought him down. It brought her down. It was a joke that wasn't necessary to be there. And honestly, yeah, that's what killed it for me.
They had a weird side thing going on. I've watched the preview for the new one that's going to be out exclusively with Amazon Video, and
it's more than a preview. It's the pilot. It was the original pilot.
You're right. It is a pilot. It's not just a preview. I think they call it a pilot preview because they've put it out so far before in advance. They're saying, hey, here's the first episode. Watch it now. Ache to see the rest of it when it comes out.
For 9 months. That's how long they've made us wait?
I've been doing this. I've been aching very well for the Tick to be played by a new person, nonetheless, even.
Admittingly, when I heard that Amazon, right?
Yes.
When Amazon was redoing this, I was actually hoping they'd bring back Patrick Warburton, especially after seeing him in Series of Unfortunate Events, just how amazing he does. But seeing the other character, in the trailers, in the preview, he does an exceptional job with the Tick.
Oh, he does. Patrick Warburton was, I almost feel like he was born to be able to play that type of role. But yeah, our new guy in this one, and it's, what's his name? Peter Serafinowicz. I'm
accustomed to seeing him in so many just different shows. Hold on, let's see.
I know, and it's funny because when you look at his profile picture here, or his face shot on IMDb, it doesn't look anything like the Tick. And you definitely don't. You don't see how that could be him either. You don't see the strong jaw. You don't see the. But when he puts that suit on, and when you see him step up and he starts talking, well, hi there, little buddy. Are you here to watch these guys and fight some crime with them too? Hey, you'd be a great sidekick. Would you like to be my sidekick?
The first line in the trailer, the new trailer that was just released last week, well, look at you, impossible. That right there,
that's
just,
totally
okay,
him.
I will give you a try.
Yes, because
you've earned my respect to give you a try.
That's something the Tick would say. It's impossible to look at me. Ha!
I wish the editing was a little tighter on that trailer, because really, a lot of the responses weren't necessary. Look at you, impossible. How much do you bench press? And then, it felt like the jokes.
There's a few. Yeah, I don't know. That is one of the. It's one of those things about the Tick where he just has those witty comebacks, and I remember with one of the first episodes, they had him sit down. They were interviewing him. Why are you a good superhero? Why should we let you be a part of the superhero union? I think is what it was trying to be out. And he had this device that he'd created. So then after they did that, he sat in this device, and it was supposed to try and chop his head off and then saw him in two and burn him up and explode him and drop something on. But the whole thing failed because he built it. And rather than everything trying to like dismember him at once, it just was just a big fail. Everything came out of it, and still should have killed him, but it didn't. And it was this failure that led him to the success of being part of the superhero union or something. And yeah,
right.
So I understand why they gotta go back to the roots. They gotta bring that back in, play off it a little bit. I'm excited for it. I'm trying not to get too excited because I can see how it could definitely be a letdown if I do, like the first one was.
What do they need to do to avoid that? I guess I should say that's my big question. Like, what if you could talk to them and let them know one thing that they needed to do, or what would you say lay out for them?
I think if Ben sticks with his original feel of the comics and of the cartoon, as long as they don't try to throw that unnecessary drama that wasn't funny into the side, as long as they keep it that way, I think it'd be better. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a hit.
Nice. Well, I know for me personally, whenever I'd go back and watch The Tick, he was so absent-minded that the entire concept of drama, romance, just never really applied. And it was kind of relaxing. It was like going out for the evening and knowing, okay, I don't have to put on my flirting hat. I don't have to put on my performance hat. I can just enjoy life. And he was like that constantly, that you didn't have to relax. You didn't have to like put on any kind of stress to try to figure things out. You could just watch him and enjoy the comedy that would ensue from him trying to save the day, from him being the superhero. He would try to be the superhero.
But he did save the day.
Yeah,
he was just
but
your
never in the way
happy-go-lucky type of guy.
Yeah, exactly. But never in the way that he meant to. It was like,
no,
he'd mess things up first, and then he would inadvertently save the day, and it was just.
And it was always the most abstract and off-the-wall issues, like when Dinosaur Neil accidentally ate the live dinosaur tissue in the Petri dish, rather than the salad that he also eats out of a Petri dish. You would think scientists would have come a long ways, and you know what? Let's not eat out of the same things we grow weird stuff in.
For me, it was definitely Chairface and trying to carve his name in the moon, and the Tick was successful in shutting down the laser so that Chairface's name would not be written in the moon. However, he was a little late, and so now there's a C, an H, and the beginning of an A.
Yep.
In the moon at the end. I'm just like
Cha on the moon in his universe. Yes.
Yeah. And that just, I love that, and I think it has great potential. So I'd say bring in Chairface.
Yeah.
When you have somebody that has a chair for a head, there you go.
Another one of the great villains I thought was Man-Eating Cow. And the scariest thing about Man-Eating Cow is a cow. There's nothing scary or intimidating about Man-Eating Cow until he eats somebody. He's just a cow.
I do not remember that joke. I need to actually.
I think that might just be a comic book one. I'll have to pull that one up. But yeah, Man-Eating Cow. And every time you see a picture of Man-Eating Cow, it's just a picture of a cow.
What about Arthur's character? Like, what would you recommend for him? Because I know in the movie, again, it was the sex that just kind of threw me off, was that Arthur, outside of his suit, just was weird.
Well, yeah, see, and I don't remember him ever coming out of his suit in the cartoon or the comics. He's like the Tick. He always wears his suit, but not his wings, which is why everyone thinks he's a rabbit. Because he's got those weird little antenna things coming off his head and no wings. Like, oh, what are you, a rabbit? No, I'm a moth, actually. Where's your wings? Well, they're too big to fit inside, so I keep them in this briefcase. I mean, everything about that is just awkwardly just not, that's not going to work. But it does. It works so well. And as they sit there in the hospital waiting for a machine to urinate into my cup.
Ah, yes, coffee. Give me of your
this?
black urine. I love that. That was hilarious.
So yeah, I'd say that the new Tick coming out on Amazon is definitely promising. And I would encourage everybody to watch that when it does come out. I believe that's coming out in August next month.
It's almost here. So yeah, go ahead, give it a watch, and we are hopeful. Hopefully, I'm actually hoping that we also see something else coming from Comic-Con. Yeah, I hope that we see something from Comic-Con.
Oh, definitely. Or what are you hoping for? Another big movie announcement?
I hope for a trailer. I hope for another trailer that's more in depth, maybe even like a 5-second preview of the next episode. I don't think we will, but I hope we do.
That'd be nice. It would be. But yeah, it looks like it's coming out Friday, August 25th on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is definitely a wonderful thing. I've got it. I really enjoy watching the shows and ordering stuff with free shipping. So,
all right. So if you want to order free stuff, go to Amazon Prime. Free shipping stuff.
Get an Amazon Prime account, then you can have free shipping.
Yes, and you can watch The Tick in August. Yes, and for those who don't know, the battle cry that will strike fear into the hearts of all evildoers, which is how we're going to end our show. Spoon! Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Just because the world is without fuel doesn't mean it can't burn. Union Forest has unleashed a dragon upon the world, and it's hungry. Henry Morgan has to save his brother and face the dragon. Check out The Shadows Above the Flames, written by our very own Daniel Swinton and published by Immortal Works. Find your copies on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, or anywhere books are sold. So go get your copy today and find out what happens to Henry and Rick.